This is Red Out for the Random Table coming at you another edition of Movie Reviews Observation number 183. Last week was a little bit of a switch up. I actually recorded my video before I even watched my Saturday movie, because Saturday movies have been, no matter if I lived with my parents or I lived on my own, the perfect opportunity to sit down and watch a 2 hour or 2.5 hour movie, because it's Shabbat. It's the Jewish day of rest. You know, there's not much you can do. Now, in the winter, obviously, I'm on a time crunch because certain jobs have me start at 5 p.m. or 5-ish. So, obviously, it is something where I have to try to get it in by a certain time. And last week, by the time that I got home, I said to myself, scratch watching my movie after I recorded video. Why don't I record the video first? So the first movie I watched, I had to return the library. It was the live-action remake of Little Mermaid, which my first question is, it's meant for children, right? What's the point, of having a children's movie that is 135 minutes? That means it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. Who has a child nowadays? When I was a child, I could sit in front of the TV and watch countless television shows and watch movies. But with the invention of smartphones, and this is not even computers, invention of smartphones, I can admit my attention span has completely wavered. And television networks make shows be 2 11-minute episodes instead of sometimes a full 22-minute episodes because they wait to break it up. So I was tired. I was exhausted. I don't think if I as an adult can do it, if I'm trying to do it professionally, get paid to do it, how a child can sit through a 2 hour and 15-minute movie. And again, we made Lion King, we made Jungle Book, we made Aladdin. There's been a few live action remakes that have been good and they've been bad. My issue with this one is they try to make it very woke, very PC, so they made Ariel a black girl. And there's nothing wrong with this actress. She can act, she can sing. They had some new songs and some old songs I know, like Under the Sea and a few other things, Kiss the Boy, whatever. And the guy who playing Eric I liked him. He did a very, very good job of doing it. I didn't like Melissa McCarthy as Ursula because she's annoying and I don't really like her, but maybe that was the point. Felt like they could have picked someone else. I thought the whole time it was either Russell Crowe or, Gerard Butler. I was trying to figure out who it is playing the father, the king. And it was Javier Bardem, and he looked ridiculous in his outfit. Then they made it where the mother of the prince is black. I don't remember that watching the movie ever when I watched it as a kid. I don't remember that all the King Trident's kids are all different races, but okay, cool. Then they made Flounder, Jacob Tremblay, the longtime kids actor, so I think that was a good choice. And they made Daveed Diggs Sebastian. Now, if you're trying to be PC and you're trying to be woke and try to be appropriate, so you change the lead race for the mother of Eric and for Ariel, and you made all the other mermaids different races, that's cool. But to have Daveed Diggs, who's an African-American Jew, put on a voice and pretend to be Jamaican as the crab, I feel like that's kind of racist compared to you trying to be so hard doing the other thing. So I was like, that's not good. And the other thing that really annoyed me was Awkwafina. Her voice and her acting is always the same role all the time. It's literally just her playing herself. So she was very annoying as the bird. So it was like, too long, a little bit too over the top with the racial stuff, and then changing things up, and then going backwards with the Daveed Diggs pretending to be Jamaican. It was all right. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. I just thought maybe if you made this a lot smaller, maybe that would have been a good idea. A lot shorter, that would have been a good idea. Then I watched Barbie, which again, 154 minutes. I thought, I didn't want to play as Barbie as a kid. I was a typical, regular, back in the 90s dude. Different world we live in now, but again, not super inappropriate as PG-13. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are good actors. And Will Ferrell was in the movie. Issa Rae was in the movie. Kate McKinnon, America Ferrera. And a lot of the actors playing the Kens and the Barbies. And Michael Cera playing Alan. And I didn't get all the references from every type of Barbie, but it's very diverse. With not just the races, but size of women and stuff. I thought it was interesting that Barbies progressed in that way. Rhea Perlman playing like the original creator of Barbie. I thought that was cool. I did like how it was satire. It was like the people in the Barbie land think that women are amazing, they run the world, that the world loves Barbie and girls love Barbie. In reality, the world is very men dominated, and Barbies are not really liked by women and stuff. And so that's satire, how they view the world in one way, but then what it really is. And then Ryan Gosling thinking that, like, wow, it's so cool that the Ken goes, wow, the world there is all about patriarchy, and he tries to change it over here. And then it was about a mother and her daughter's relationship. I thought a lot of good stories developing, a lot of good acting in the movie. It was just well written. That it was more of a satire about the world we live in and what people thought it would be. And it was clever. They got a lot of very good actors that I recognize from everything. They got one of the Marvel superheroes. They got Alexander Shipp. They got a lot of actors to be in this movie that I recognize. And I'm like, I know those people, and I thought it was very, very good that they casted all these people and they all had roles in the movie. You know, Simu Limu was really good. And obviously Will Ferrell at this point is like a emeritus role where he's just in the movies. Obviously, they had Dua Lipa as a Barbie. Kingsley Ben-Adir was a Ken. John Cena was even a Ken. And I was like, wow. You know, between Michael Cera on the spot playing this awkward Alan guy, I thought that was pretty darn cool also. I was like, that's pretty cool. He did a very good job in his role. Kate McKinnon played a weird, creepy doll. That was a very good job out of her. Ariana Greenblatt was the daughter. Helen Mirren narrated it. You know, it was like a lot of good actors in it. Rob Brydon was in it. So overall, it was like Adam Ray was in the movie. So there was like all over the place actors that I've heard of, and I thought it was pretty good satire, good clever. Now you're looking at another movie that I love Liam Neeson. He's an amazing actor. And in this movie, you got Francois Arnault from Midnight Texas and Blind Spot. And you got Danny Huston, and you got Alan Cumming, and you got Colm Meaney, and you got Adewale Akinole Agbeya, like Danielle Melchior, Jessica Lange, and Diane Kruger. Like, it's a really good cast. But I've been told that they've done a lot of versions of this Marlowe movie about a private investigator in the 1930s. And obviously, Diane Kruger hires him, and her mother is Jessica Lange, and she can't find her husband, who's Francois Arnault. And Alan Cumming is involved in it, and his driver is the guy I remember from the short-lived series of Breckin Meyer, like solving like a murder. And Colm Meaney, we know from Star Trek and, you know, Stargate. So I was like, I know a lot of these actors, but for an hour 50 movie, it dragged on and felt like it was like a 2-hour plus movie. Lots of boring drama, talky, and like the only real thing you want to watch is how is Liam Neeson gonna save the day? How's he gonna solve the mystery that he's trying to solve, finding the missing husband? Like, what's gonna be the thing? And yeah, you just watch this movie if you're just a fan of Liam Neeson. It's not like an amazing movie or a crappy movie. It's just like, it was okay. Then I watched The Fabelmans, and I do apologize to Steven Spielberg. I fell asleep a little bit. It was like somewhat based on like his story growing up, where his family, where, you know, his father, played by Paul Dano, is this very smart man who makes his own things, and his dad's best friend is Seth Rogen, who I didn't even recognize when they gave him a buzz cut and shaved. I was like, wait, that's him? And Judd Hirsch played like a great uncle in the movie. And it was more about like this kid growing up and wanting to be a filmmaker, and his like parents, you know, not really supporting him or ain't supporting him, going through a divorce his whole life as he got older and making films and stuff. And I was like, yeah, not a bad movie of a coming-of-age story about a young dude who wants to make film. That I thought wasn't bad, wasn't inappropriate, rated PG-13. Like, it would definitely be a movie I'd want to go back and actually sit through the whole entire thing without falling asleep. But maybe if the movie wasn't listed at 2 hours and 31 minutes with credits, maybe it would be a lot easier to obtain and watch that movie in its entirety. That's all I'm saying. It wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a horrible movie. It was pretty good. It was just really hard to, in my opinion, sit through 2 hours and 31 movie even if I was awake. Then I watched Devotion, which will probably be one of the last Jonathan Majors movie based on his legal issues, and Glenn Powell. And Glenn Powell just looks like a stereotypical good-looking white dude who's in the army, you know, like in the military, you know, and it's based on true events. And Jonathan Majors plays this famous a Navy pilot during the Korean War, and it's about his relationship with, Glenn Powell's character. And there was a lot of actors in this movie that I recognized from here and there, but it was focusing around their relationship with each other and the bond they had, and I liked it. I thought it was good. Again, 139 minutes, okay? That's, again, 2 hours and 19 minutes. Another very long drama based on a true story. That's good and dandy. I like when it's like biopics or based off a true story. But again, cut it a little bit down, the movie, because we know what this is based on a true story and true events. So you're like, we know a little bit of this information. And then, obviously, being PG-13 is not appropriate. Your kids can definitely watch it. It's like it's a lot better military film I watched than that one I watched the other week about this black drug addict joining the military because thought he was a failure in life. So I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. Then I watched Left Behind from Kevin Sorbo with Neil McDonough and Kermit Benson. It says, based on a true story that hasn't happened yet, based on the New York Times bestseller. So obviously, I may have been missing something. There could have been a first movie because they're like, this movie takes place after the rapture, and it's everyone dealing with their own journey. So why wasn't I raptured if I'm a good religious Christian? But also, this movie was an hour and 50-something minutes and dragged on, felt like it was like 2 hours. And no offense to Kevin Sorbo, he's doing all these Christian movies. And Neil McDonough, I respect him as an actor. He's always in movies or TV shows and plays the part very well being a bad guy. In Paul Blart, The Arrowverse, in one of these Bruce Willis DVD movies I watched recently, like, he gets it. He knows what his MO is as an actor, and he plays it well. Corbin Burnson, I think it's only because I started watching The Resident that I've been noticing this guy in every TV show and movie, and he was good. But it was so many plots between, like, was there like a conspiracy theory? The Sorbo is the pilot, his wife, and dealing with that. Then there's like a professor at a school who's like all of this. And there's a guy who works on television who's a journalist. And then there's this business. There's just way too much going on for me to understand it. Maybe if there is a first one, maybe I watch the first one. But again, sorry, Kevin Sorbo. Like, some of these movies that you make are just not that great. Then I watched two movies that were I watched Coming Home in the Dark, and based on what I remembered, I thought it was a horror film. But it was basically, I don't know if it's in Australia or New Zealand, but the saving grace, it was barely 93 minutes, was that this school teacher and his wife and their kids are on a isolated coastline, enjoying themselves. But all of a sudden, these two thugs come up to them and steal their money and their car. I'm just going to assume they killed the kid. I thought they killed the wife pretty darn early in the movie, but she apparently wasn't killed, and they took them on a ride and were torturing them through their lives, and then I don't know if everyone died or not. It was just really bad, and it's just, a lot of it was filmed in the dark, so it was very hard to see, like, what the heck was going on. We don't know if this was really a revenge film or just a random occurrence. So it was not good. Then I watched Take Back with Michael Jai White, and I'm going to assume that Gillian White maybe is his wife. James Russo was a cop, Mickey Rourke was a bad guy, and it's basically, I respect Michael Jai White. He's a professional martial artist, and he's a very good actor in all these action movies, especially played Bronze Tiger on Arrow. I wish they used his character more, but I really like him, and he's voiced characters on, like, Bronze Tiger and other characters in the DC animated universe. So apparently he and his wife haven't been married that long. They haven't been together that long. She has a past that she hasn't mentioned. Apparently it's involved Mickey Rourke, where she was taken in a sex trafficking ring that Mickey Rourke was running when she was younger. And when some dude tries to hurt this girl at a cafe, she steps in, beats him up, and then there's a home invasion too. And you add these two events, and it brings out the fact that she's on the national news and stuff, and one of Mickey Rourke's guys is looking for her because Mickey Rourke remembers her. And this cop, that's played by James Russo, had been looking for her, trying to stop him. So got all these, like, connected plot points where then Mickey Rourke's henchmen take her stepdaughter, Michael Jai White's biological daughter, and they have to save the daughter from Mickey Rourke. And again, barely an hour 20, it was like hour 23 and 24-minute movie, under 90-minute movie, and again, very, very boring. And when there was actual fight scenes where they were actually fighting bad guys or shooting bad guys, it was very limited, and it was towards the end. So unless you're really obsessed with Michael Jai White, do not watch this movie. Do not watch Coming Home in the Dark. It's probably one of the worst things I've ever watched. And Left Behind, Rise of the the Antichrist. Unless you're like, I have to watch these religious movies, Kevin Sorbo, I would ignore it. I would say that the best movie I watched is Barbie. Like, hands down. I never thought that it was going to be the case. Usually when I watch a movie, I'm like, you know, I hate watch certain things that I think are going to be dumb, and the writing got me, and the acting level of every single well-known actor and character actor that was in the movie, and there was actual plot to it, and being an hour and 54 minutes with credits, it wasn't even that long. That is the best movie I watched. I would say Devotion and The Fabelmans and even Marlowe were, they're the three movies that I would watch. I would say you should watch. And I would go back and watch Fabelmans if it wasn't 2.5 hours long. Same thing with obviously the Devotion being pretty long. But again, these are not bad movies. Even the Michael Jai White movie is not bad. But the best movie I watched this week is Barbie. And then basically Marlowe, Fabelmans, and Devotion are watchable movies. Everything else I would never watch if I wasn't doing this every single week. Okay, thanks for listening to another show of Movie Observation number 183. We're on 183. For Under Tay Blog, I'm Raider. See you guys next time.